welcome to Good Grief, the podcast dedicated to demystifying and destigmatizing grief with compassion and humor. I'm Nikki. I'm an end-of-life doula and a grief coach in Columbus, Ohio. And today we're going to discuss how to create a grief plan. I came across an article on What's Your Grief about making a grief plan, and this is something I actually studied in my grief coaching class too. So it just kind of re-triggered that in my brain, and I thought, this is a huge tool I need to share with my podcast listeners. Like, why didn't I do this earlier? I don't know. Anyway, I'm doing it now, and that's all that matters. So we're going to talk about how to create a plan for yourself. And this works for grief, for depression. This is a huge thing that you can do for yourself. This is a big favor that one day future grieving you will thank right now you for. Now, sure, you could just say, look, I know what makes me feel better. And, when I'm having that day, I'll just remember it. Guys, grief brain is legit. And if you're not familiar with grief fog or grief brain, you will be. If you ever experience a huge loss or are feeling a big grief, you're gonna feel it and you're gonna go, oh, that's what this is. It's real. It really does cloud all of your thinking. And grief can also give you a negativity bias, which is something I struggle with my mental health and my depression, is finding it all but impossible to focus on anything positive, and you get yourself in a spiral. And that can happen with grief. I'm not saying it will, but I've known some people who've told me they don't understand depression one bit, and then they experience a loss and they're like, oh God, I get it. And my response to that is, I'm sorry you do. I'm sorry you have to feel it, but because it's awful. So yeah, it's important to not just have a plan in place, but write it down. Okay, I'm going to link this article in the description because there is a downloadable PDF and a fillable PDF that you can download from this page with everything you will need for this. If you'd rather just do it on your own, that's fine. Grab a notebook, piece of paper, whatever, write it down, or open up a Google document if you prefer, and write this stuff out. It's important to have this written down because the day will come when you need it and you won't be able to think of it. So before you even get started in writing down your lists or coming up with your plan, take a moment to think about how your daily routine goes now. What's a day like for you on a normal day, on a good day? And that's a good framework to start with. What are some things that you have that you do every single day without fail? You just keep little things like those in mind, and little things like brushing your teeth or taking a shower. It seems almost rote and you don't have to think about it, but let me tell you, when grief hits or when a bad episode hits, just brushing your teeth can be a monumental task. So just think of things that you do every day and think about your daily life as it is now, because our routines and our daily tasks, if you're a routine person, even if you're not, just those things you do every day in certain orders, they're kind of like a foundation for you and your life. And not having those there can kind of displace a lot of other things. If you get rid of that foundation, your house will fall down. So sometimes you need those foundational things to keep in mind. Okay? So let's just dive right in. Let's talk about what to put on your grief plan. Again, you can download this PDF, but then, you could download the PDF that's on this page, or you can write out your own. You can draw like if you're an artist and you want to go all cuckoo banana pants and make something really fun, do it. Have at. This can be a creative outlet for you. So first thing to think of is, in the first section, is your non-negotiables. These are certain things you do every single day, like I talk about, your basic routines, your foundation of the foundation of you, the foundation of your day. And this can be simple things like you said, taking a shower. Now, this article says this isn't a place to put aspirational things, so don't put go to the gym on there because you want to go to the gym every day. Now, for me and for some others, that is a non-negotiable. Like, ask my husband. I will get up and try to work out when I'm sick. Like, that's a non-negotiable for me. I wake up at 5 every day and I work out. And it's like I can't function. My brain will not work if I don't wake up and get in some type of movement. Even if I'm feeling like crap, I try to at least do some yoga, something. I have to get up and move my body every day. So just think of those non-negotiables you do. Eating a certain breakfast, maybe, or coffee. Coffee's a non-negotiable for me too. I'm sorry. If you have to ask me to not have coffee, you may as well just kill me, because I can't function without at least one cup of coffee. And again, these are things you would think you would just do naturally because they're part of your everyday. But a lot of times these are the first things to slip, especially the things you do when you first wake up in the morning, because getting out of bed might be hard. Getting out of bed might be impossible. But just those little foundational things can, at least, for me, like I said, I work out every morning. Waking up, working out, and then having a cup of coffee is like, it triggers my day to start. When I don't have that thing, everything else in my day feels weird. So sometimes even that simple thing can just help trigger your body to get going, right? But think of things like, say another thing that is a non-negotiable for me is I go for a walk every day. And even if I don't go for a walk, I step outside. Unless it is absolutely raining cats and dogs or 110 degrees or negative 30 degrees, I go outside. Even if I just stand outside for a second, I have to stand outside. I have to be outside once a day. So those are some good things to put in there. There is the next thing you can put on your care plan, and you can even just write this off to the side in a margin or the top of your page, is the word HALT, H-A-L-T. And HALT is a check-in for a lot of things when you're feeling big emotions. Are you hungry, angry, lonely, or tired? Hunger's a big one, you guys. Hunger, we all heard the term hangry. It's real. I've been there. And sometimes, like, you're hanging out with your significant other, your friends, you're trying to decide where to go to eat, and you're all hungry, and none of you can make a decision because you're too daggone hungry to make a choice. So little things like that can really hinder our ability to make decisions and problem solve and make decisions that are good for us. So just take a second, halt, if you will, and check in with yourself. Hungry, angry, lonely, or tired. Maybe you need a drink of water too. That's a tip I learned for overeating, is sometimes you're just thirsty. Drink a glass of water and you won't be as hungry. All right, the next section is the meat of it and my favorite part, and these are grief care plan mood boosters. So think of little things that always tend to boost your mood. What makes you a little bit happier? And it doesn't even have to be happier. It's just something that energizes you a little bit from where you are. It could be watching a specific TV show, or going for a walk. Working out for some people is a mood booster. Singing a song, going to a movie, anything that instantly boosts your mood. That's like a quick fix. Like for me, I hate admitting this, but the one thing I can watch and do that makes me laugh more than anything else in this world are old Vine videos. If you remember Vine, those of you of my generation or millennial age will probably understand Vine videos. Vine might be more millennial than Gen X, but for my older listeners, I'm sorry if you don't know what I'm talking about. Vine was a little like TikTok, but they were limited to 6 seconds. It was like a 6-second video. And I will watch compilations of Vine videos, and something about those just, I can't watch those and not like crack my butt up laughing. So think of things like that. Petting your pet, your dog, your cat, playing with your child if you have children. Just anything that instantly boosts your mood. Write that down. Because again, when you're in that space and your brain is just not accepting happy things at the moment, you might have to force yourself to do these things. You might have to just turn on the video even though you don't want to watch it and everything is awful and this is stupid and it's never going to work. And it won't make you instantly happy, but it might just be the trigger you need to at least get your body and your mind going back in the right direction. So that's the big meaty bit there. The next section is people. It's on my website under my grief coaching, and I say it all the time. Grief can be incredibly isolating. It can make you feel so completely and utterly alone, and you're not. And I guarantee you there's somebody out there who gives a crap. And there's somebody that if they knew you were hurting would stop what they were doing and come cheer you up. So make a list of people you feel safe reaching out to. And if it's me, I exist, you guys. I'm here. You can reach out to me. Or maybe there's a group, like a Facebook group or a Discord server group, some type of online forum you're in that you have friends on there and you can trust them. Just make a list of these people. Write it down. Don't just say, oh, I'll remember because I talked to so-and-so. Write it down, guys. Write this stuff down. Make a list of people that you can reach out to safely and can help you. Okay? Just keep in mind that, don't expect to reach out to these people and have them fix all your problems. Okay? This is just somebody you can reach out to feel a little less alone, because sometimes that's all you need. I was just doing an interview earlier today and talking about grief and isolation. And sometimes all it takes is just one person to show that they care that can completely turn you around. It's not going to fix all your problems, but just knowing somebody out there cares can be huge. So have your list of people you can reach out to. All right, the next section is distractions. And this is something I've brought up before. It's okay to use distractions sometimes. Overall, you will hear, you can't just distract away your grief. You have to, and that's true. But sometimes it's okay to distract yourself. If you're that bad off that you need to just turn your brain off for a minute and like I always say, scroll through TikTok videos for an hour like I do, that's okay. Sometimes it's okay to distract yourself. Throw yourself into a project that you're working on. Cleaning the house is always a big one for me, because that's something I can physically control. So if I can control something, it helps me feel a little bit better about the thing that I can't control at that moment. But play a video game, do a crossword puzzle, listen to your favorite podcast, which is obviously Good Grief with Nikki the Death Doula. Read a book, watch a movie, do something physical or mental to just distract you. To pull your brain away from your grief for a day or an hour or a minute. So make a list of things that you could do that would distract you, things that you enjoy doing. The next one, it'll be a shorter list and maybe not super attainable quickly, but places where you feel calm. Think of physical places you can go. Just sometimes for me, pulling myself out of the house. If I've been in the house for a few days and I haven't been in a good place mentally, I need to separate myself. My house, obviously, it's home. This is where I feel the safest and the most comfortable. But sometimes when I've been stuck in a grief cycle or a depression cycle, I need to get out of the house, right? That's usually when I go for a walk, which is another reason why I try to go for a walk every single day. But find places, and don't just leave just to leave and go to the grocery store and then stress yourself out even more because there's a million people there, and I hate grocery shopping. But is there a place where you can go that makes you feel a little better? A friend's house? The library for me is huge. I love going to the library because it's so quiet and there's just books everywhere, you guys. I love reading. Maybe a coffee shop that's down the road where there might be some people around, a little bit of soft music. You can just have a donut or a biscotti and a cup of coffee or a tea. Just somewhere you can go that make you feel a little calmer. Maybe maybe shopping. So I will never recommend retail therapy, but hey, sometimes if you need to go shopping to make yourself feel a little better, you do what you have to do, right? Okay, so put that on your list as well. And then on the last section at the bottom, or maybe right up at the top, I want you to write down the number, if you're in the United States, write down the number 988. Put that on there in big, bold letters, circle it, star it. On this list, they put it at the bottom. They put a couple other lines there too. 988 is a crisis line for when you are feeling possibly suicidal. Okay? There are other phone numbers as well. There might be some local to your area. You might have a prayer line with your church. I know my old church used to have that where you could just call in and request a prayer. A lot of times it was a voicemail, but somebody would call you back. But if there's any type of crisis line or support line or a 24-hour access number you can call if it's an emergency situation, write that on this list, okay? And always remember, when you call these lines, especially 988 or the suicide hotline, you guys, I volunteered there for years. They will answer and they will care, okay? And there is no judgment. If you need that, you need it. Do it, okay? Down off my soapbox. So that's really it. The PDF that's on the site, again, I'll link it in the show notes, but it's on the blog whatsyourgrief.com, and if you just search What's Your Grief and Grief Care Plan, you might find it. And I have something very similar that I use for my clients as a grief coach. So, if you'd like something from me, let me know. But that's another thing too. Like, obviously, I would love to have clients and work with people, but you don't have to call me. If you need help, you can find a grief coach or a therapist or a counselor. We know that. How many times do I say that? Reach out for help if you need it. Do it. All right. That is pretty much it for your grief care plan. Again, even if you haven't suffered a loss, if you're just normal Joe Schmo living your dream, do this. Go get this together now. Do it while you're having a good day, right? I tend to use this analogy a lot of, you don't think about where your passport is every day. You think about where your passport is when the house is on fire. So don't wait until your house is on fire to try to remember where your passport is. Make a little note of where your passport is now. Okay? So have a plan in place. All right. Enough of that. We're at the end of the episode, so it is time for the Death Deck. Okay. Shuffle up the cards. Whoop. Pull one out of the middle. Okay. What kind of griever are you? A, open, not afraid to talk, pray, meditate, cry, or whatever it does that helps. B, a distractor, keep busy and focus on projects and tasks. Or C, a wreck. Seriously, someone may have to watch me 24/7. For me, I think I'm a little of A and B. I'm mostly B. I will fully admit that. I have trouble talking about my griefs or my issues sometimes. I tend to bottle them up, but I'm also a bit of an open book about things. It took me a while, but I talk about my brother a lot and talk about him a lot on this podcast. Things like that. I'm not afraid to discuss things like that. I mean, hell, I started a whole podcast on this, didn't I? I'm putting myself out there to all you lovely people. So, yeah. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to pop on my Facebook page where I post these morning of. Sometimes it takes me a while to get to it. I try to schedule it ahead of time. Anyway, enough of that. I post these on my Facebook page. I'd love to have some discussions there. Tell me what your answer to the death deck question was, or tell me what you thought of the episode. Unless you hated it, then just keep that to yourself. Okay, you guys. Thank you so much. I hope you're well. Have a wonderful week, and remember, your grief is yours. Your feelings are valid, and grief doesn't always have to suck. If you enjoyed today's episode, please leave me a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening today. It really helps the algorithm so more people can find me. But if you'd like to find me elsewhere, I'm at nikkithedeathdoula.com. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram at nikkithedeathdoula. Please feel free to reach out to me there. And if you'd like to support me on Patreon, you can find me at patreon.com/nikkithedeathdoula. As always, all the money I receive through my Patreon goes into a fund so that I can provide pro bono work to those who cannot afford my services. You'll also get access to bonus content and maybe even a shout out here on the podcast. Scripts, editing, sound design, production, literally everything is done by me, myself, just me. Except for the music. The music is Cheery Monday by Kevin MacLeod, and you can find license information at filmmusic.io/standard-license. And as always, a special shout out to my best friend and husband for continuing to support me along the way.